right, who wants to join the mob? No, I'm actually serious. In game form, at least. Oh, you thought I was talking about the real mob? No. We're not gonna do that. Kind of illegal in most countries. Most. What's going on, everyone? Tallen here with 5-9 Direct, and today we're gonna be talking about Like a Dragon Ishin. Yes, it is time to say sayonara to the Yakuza series. Not really, it's more the name, which we're gonna get into in just a minute here. But today we're gonna be talking about another demo I got to try at TGS when I was there this past week. It was a lot of fun being able to go behind the scenes, get to check out some of the demos, get to play them hands-on, get a bunch of recordings through the press pass and everything that we were able to get. So it was a lot of fun. So if you want to keep up to date on everything that we do when it comes to events and everything, we do like to post little clips and pictures and everything like that on our 5-9 Direct Twitter. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already, linked down in the description below. But today we're gonna be taking a look again at this demo. And like I said before, Like a Dragon is the spiritual successor? Not really. It's the original name when it comes to the Yakuza series. The Yakuza was how the West decided to translate it because it was probably a much better way of marketing the games. But now they've gone back to a more, one-to-one translation when it comes to this title and everything. So anytime going forward, if you hear someone say Yakuza or you hear someone say Like a Dragon, they are the same series. They're going by the official name now because that's what it's always been called here in Japan. So just keep that in mind right now, okay? So today, anyway, we're gonna go over the demo, like I've stated now 2 to 3 times. We're gonna talk about the goods, the bads, how it looks, when this game's coming out, and all that stuff. And again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you plan on picking this game up? Have you enjoyed any of the previous games, that whether they've been released only in Japan or in the West, whether you've known them as Yakuza, Judgment, Like a Dragon, you name it? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. And of course, if you happen to enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you happen to be new. We're super close to 2,000 subs and only 30% of you are subbed to the channel. So it'd be really nice if you guys could all hit that sub button and support the channel even more. And as always, leave a comment down below. I know it's cheesy to say, and especially in 2022, but it actually does help us, and it helps us get into the algorithm. And the more we do well, the more videos we are able to bring you, the viewer. So without further ado, let's go and get started. Like a Dragon Ishin. This was actually originally released in 2014, but in Japan only. Now, this is going to release in the West on all major platforms, except the Switch. Maybe it will eventually hit the cloud. We all know how good those are. Anyway, the fact that this is finally releasing after 5+ years is obviously really good. Anytime we can get a game that was only released in one country and finally get released to the masses is always fun, especially when the series itself has actually had a pretty decent good following. In fact, some of the heads at Sega have even stated on the record that the reason they're finally going to release this game in the West is because of the success for Ghost of Tsushima when it released in the West. Obviously, Ghost of Tsushima was only a PlayStation game and it released worldwide essentially, and it was made by a Western developer. But regardless, the fact that it did so well basically showed them that, hey, we can hopefully release this game and it can do just as well. Maybe not sales wise, obviously, but it will do well. There's gonna be an audience there for that, and people are gonna want to play it. And especially if they have their own twists and interesting concepts to the game, then it can hopefully do really well. So this is really cool that we get to see that. And again, if you really want to support this, make sure you buy this game or rent it or get it on sale when you get a chance, and really support this game so that more of these types of games are released in the future. And it kind of shows maybe even other developers, whether it's from Sega or any other Japanese developers, that, hey, look, the West will buy this if you release it. It's okay to. We want to support your games and everything. So make sure you do. Again, it comes out on every major platform except for the Switch. Now, the Like a Dragon Ishin is a spin-off. Just the Ishin part is the spin-off. Again, Like a Dragon is the official name of the Yakuza series when you translate it from Japanese. However, like I said at the very beginning, the West decided to translate it into Yakuza because more people probably knew that when it came to, your more typical mob name and all that kind of stuff, the Japanese mob essentially, which is what the Yakuza is. However, using those terms over here in Japan, not the greatest thing to do. Do not talk about them, regardless if you've seen them in real life. I've actually seen them in real life. They pulled up right in front of me when I was walking in Shinjuku one time. Not gonna lie, one of the scariest moments in my life. That is why they've probably made this name change and everything, because they're like, okay, we need to make this more like the actual translation and not just simply take liberties with the translation and just make it whatever we want, essentially. So anyway, like we said before, now it's gonna be called Like a Dragon. It's the same series with obviously numbered continuations, spin-offs, but Like a Dragon is the official translation and what they're gonna be using going forward when it comes to these games when they release them in the West. Now let's talk about what Ishin is itself, because it's not your typical Like a Dragon game. Ishin takes place in the days of the samurai, and it takes concepts from the past games that were originally called Yakuza and basically mixes them and combines them together. From the basic combat with your katana and fists to the new additions like the gun and dual wielding of swords and guns. So the combat is still going to be crazy and fluid just like it's always been in past games. However, now with all these different weapons and stances that you're going to have, each of the directional paths allows you to have 4 different stances, actually very similar to how Ghost of Tsushima worked. So either Ghost of Tsushima took this concept from them, or they took it from Ghost of Tsushima. Not really sure. Either way, regardless, they're not the first games to actually do this kind of stuff, but regardless, you get the idea. Now, each of these stances are going to allow you to either wield different weapons, use your fists, guns, you name it. Each have their ups and downs. Some of them have different combos, some of them have different moves and certain special abilities that you can use, and others have certain weaknesses. For example, when you use only your sword, this allows you to have basic heavy and light attack combos, but it allows you to block as well. However, if you go to one of the new dual gun and sword combo stances, then you're going to be much faster, have a lot of different combos and some crazy special moves. However, you can't block. So if you get teamed up and surrounded by a group of enemies, you're going to be in a bit of trouble here. So you got to be a little careful about that. Now, one thing I will say, when I actually get to play this game on the floor and everything like that, I went between the different stances and everything to try out these different moves. One thing I hope that they do fix by the time this game releases next year early is that they really fix how fast you're able to swap between stances. I'm not asking for when you're in mid combo or anything like that. There are times where I'll finish a combo when I was playing the demo, try to switch over to a stance, and my character just stood there. So I hope they're able to fix that a little bit. Again, maybe this is an old demo from way back in the day or anything like that, but regardless, hopefully they're able to fix things like that. Now, during the demo that we got to play at TGS, we got to pick one of 2 levels, either a daytime or nighttime. Daytime allowed us to basically roam around the town, enter a few combat scenarios, and basically see what the quote-unquote open world or open area is going to look like. The night levels allowed us to basically go against a mob boss, which was actually pretty challenging when you got into it. Eventually, I was able to find out how exactly the best way to beat this guy is, but regardless, it was definitely a bit of a challenge, especially because maybe the character in the demo was a little under-leveled, or you weren't able to really add any extra combos or gear or anything like that onto your samurai. But regardless, it was definitely a neat challenge. So if you went back in line, you could go then play the day level, or vice versa, depending on which one you picked. As with most of the Like the Dragon / Yakuza games, combat is fun and chaotic. If you've played any of the previous games, then you're going to know exactly what to expect here. You're going to feel right at home, and honestly, it's just going to be a lot of fun. These games are not really meant to be taken too serious, I think, when it comes to somehow the combat works and some of these crazy special moves you can do. I mean, literally, half the time you could throw out like a Kamehameha wave blast like from Dragon Ball if you wanted to. But overall, it's just a fun game to play, and the combat, which is, again, it was fun, chaotic, and it was interesting to say the least. However, I do need to talk about a couple of the downsides though. I mentioned before switching between the different stances, not exactly being as precise and fast as I would like it to. Again, not wanting it to be during the combo, but if I finish my combo and I want to switch, it should switch over to that stance that I want to go to. Ghost of Tsushima has this down pretty well, so hopefully again they're able to fix that. Another thing I had to look at though a little bit objectively was the graphics. Now, I know this game came out on the PS3 way back in the day in 2014, and I think it originally also released in 2014, again in Japan only. So I know the graphics are not going to be the craziest or anything like that, but it is starting to show its age a little bit. So I do have to mention about that when it comes to the graphics, especially when you're trying to compare it to other beast games like Forza on Xbox or Horizon on PlayStation. However, there is a bit of a silver lining here though. Some developers, actually when I say some, I mean quite a decent amount of Japanese developers here in Japan have stated that they're looking into maybe changing over from their more in-house engine or whatever engine they're currently running on different games and moving over to something like Unreal 5, because that's what seems to be the kind of trend that's happening right now. Back in the day, it used to be a lot of your own proprietary engines and everything, but nowadays most people are going to Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5, and it makes sense. It's a really good engine, it's really easy, and if anyone finds or learns something about it, they simply can post about it or tell others about it, and it's much easier for new developers or more veteran developers who are making the transition over to Unreal 5, make it a lot easier. So we'll have to see if this is going to happen with something like Sega. Maybe the next Like a Dragon game will have this. Obviously, this game's not going to, or other games that are made around the world are also going to use this. And from the Cyberpunk series is potentially going to be making this jump over as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But regardless, it's nice to see that people are at least considering moving over to a better engine to make things, I guess, more current gen, if you will. Though that being said, though, the demo actually really wasn't that long, whether you pick the night or the day. The night one was definitely pretty short. Day was a little bit longer, but regardless, it wasn't as long as some of the other demos I got to try on the floor. But nonetheless, it was still a really fun demo to play. I had a lot of fun with the gameplay, some of the combat, switching between the different stances and everything. And if they can fix some of the little nitpicks that I've had with the demo, then great. I think the game will definitely have success in the West. and I'm definitely going to pick it up and try it out. So if you want to make sure you see that review and everything, make sure again that you sub to the channel and you leave a like, letting us know that you want to see this game. So when does this game actually come out though? It comes out in February 21st, 2023. That might be a bit of a problem though for some people, because as you know from last year, February is a very crazy and hectic month for gaming. So hopefully they've added enough to this game and it's in a good polished state that it is going to be able to hold its best with whatever crazy games are coming out during that time. So we'll have to wait and see if we're going to have the next Elden Ring that comes out, and that's going to have to fight against this game. But regardless, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Are you going to be picking this game up, or do you want to see a review from us here on 5 9 Direct? So anyway, other than that, everyone, that's going to be it for me from the video. Again, it was a really short demo, and I don't want to waste your time. But regardless, it was still a very fun game. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, as always, like I've stated many times beforehand. And if you don't even have a comment you want to leave an emoji or something like that, or give it a thumbs up or something like that if you want to. It always does help us with the algorithm here on YouTube. And of course, if you liked the video, make sure you like it and sub to the channel if you happen to be new. Again, only 30% of you are subbed to the channel. We would really appreciate it if you could support the channel. Anyway, I've been Tallen with 5 9 Direct, everyone. See you in the next one. Johnny.